Hey everyone, thanks for coming in and joining us. Talk a little bit about Phygital. We have a great panel with people who are creating pretty cool stuff in this realm, world of NFTs and everything that we're discovering. Talking with people, just understanding what NFTs. Some people coming in today say, "What is the metaverse?" I'm like, "Well, we're gonna need few more minutes." So
No kidding.
yeah, and I spoke last year, so I'm going to be moderating a little bit and asking some questions, and we'll go through, everybody here. We'll do a quick intro and have a few questions and talk about this. And if we have time, I don't know, take a question or two from the audience, and we'll go through that. So let's start with the intros.
Hi, how you guys doing? My name is Greg Gadson. I'm here with my partner, Diamonte Zarba. He and I are actually the managing partners and founders of GDGC Enterprises. We are a boutique luxury tokenization firm. So we consult with different individuals in order to tokenize their luxury assets. That has allowed us to really bring a business model to the NFT space, really use NFTs and leverage the underlying technology in order to create real-life use cases. And that has allowed us in order to segue into not only other avenues of business involving NFTs, but also our own project as well. And so I'm going to let my partner take it over. Explain.
So like Greg was saying, my name is Diamonte Zarba. We, about a year ago, founded GDGC Enterprises, which was based and focused around tokenizing a 1 of 3 18-karat rose gold Kobe Bryant signed Hublot watch. At the time, we were the first to tokenize a luxury physical asset. That led to publications and being featured in over 300 articles around the world, everything from GQ, Forbes, Sports Illustrated, New York Post, everything in between. And being featured in Times Square at the NASDAQ market site. That partnership went a little bit sour. We had to reformulate our plan, and that led us to the Luxury Asset Club, which we'll be talking about a little bit later on in our presentation.
Sounds cool. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Lacie Thorne. I'm an executive MBA candidate at the Yale School of Management, and I founded Phygitals, which is an NFT marketplace that incentivizes fashion resale. We tether each individual fashion garment to its own NFT so that when that item sells multiple times, the NFT smart contract triggers commissions through the ownership lineage back to the owner or the minter of that NFT. So our hypothesis is that when consumers and brands can anticipate future commissions on royalties on the resale of their garments, brands will incentivize themselves to make better quality clothing, and consumers will invest in those quality pieces, take good custodial care of those pieces, and then recirculate them into a community that will keep it going.
Awesome, thank you guys. My name is Alan. I'm the founder of Maddie's. And we started out last year in early February, launched full-blown in April. We started out as a way to create customized merch for NFT owners. I found myself owning NFTs and not really knowing what to do with it or showcasing anything aside from my digital wallet. So I implemented it's like a print on demand where you can kind of extract the NFTs from your wallet and print that out. And then throughout the last year, we've really built the technology atop to become a Shopify meets print on demand with the Web3 layer. So we've partnered up with almost 200 projects now to create their official store and support them in not only creating the merch, their official merch in official capacity, but also to give them all the tools with Web3, authentication, validation, custom claim pages, and things like that that will enhance that Web3 and leverage that, but also with the physical aspect of bringing merch and shipping, manufacturing, all that to their customer. So, awesome. All right, let's get to questions. First one, being that we are talking about NFTs in the digital space, what is your take and why is it so important to bridge the gap between physicals and digitals? And how do you guys go about it?
I'll answer that. That's a very great question, by the way, Alan. First and foremost, I think the real value is allowing things to, it's a next natural step. Whether it's you're purchasing a luxury home or a luxury car or your next Birkin bag, in my opinion, that will come with an NFT. It won't come with a paper certificate of authenticity. It'll come with a digital form of ownership, whether that's an NFT or some name we haven't decided yet. That'll be what I think the next step is. So tying the digital to the physical is the next step.
Yeah, that's mainly one of the focal points that we like to focus on when we work with our clients, is try to explain to them the reasons as to why you should tokenize your assets, putting it on chain, the fact that it's transparent, the fact that it shows provenance, and ownership as well. So all of those things, and also one thing Lacie pointed about was the royalties that are built in within NFTs. A word that Diamonte and I try to phrase is becoming the origin. So being the first person to essentially get these already established assets onto the blockchain. Be the first to be able to capitalize on those royalties that can be received in perpetuity as these items are sold over time. And just really try to introduce people to, as he said, the next progression, the next step in this new digital evolution.
Yeah, I think some of the things that we're really excited about at Phygitals is the authentication of objects. If a NFT is associated with a certain origin point, for example, this Balenciaga handbag, once it is minted at the source of manufacturing, the authentication process from user to user can be tracked and verified. One of the cool things that we're doing is giving users the ability to add metadata memories to their objects through the NFT. So if the user base has been unique in origin, there's an opportunity to say, this object used to belong to so-and-so. And then brands can use that consumer data to really understand what their consumers are doing with their objects in order to better serve their customers.
Yeah, the royalty aspect of it is actually one of the things that the beauty for me is, as a creator, why not build something that you can always earn something every time you exchange hands. I was trying to explain to someone a misnomer, like it became, Bored Ape got so big that it almost became the symbol of NFTs. Yesterday someone said, NFTs, you mean the apes? Right? I'm like, it can be anything. It can be a document. There's so much more to NFTs, but the royalty as a creator, like you guys are saying, it's just a beautiful thing that can continue to sell. And every time it passes hands, some like the Goblins, they launched as a free mint, and they monetize on the volume traded, which is the royalties aspect of it. So that aspect is phenomenal. But just to go back to the first question, from my perspective, the Phygital answers the how you experience digital in real life. Right, so you can see something. You can, like I had my NFTs when I first bought it, and it was awesome in my wallet. And my wife said, "Okay, now what?" And I said, "I don't know." And I didn't have an answer for that. So that Phygital is like how you're extracting the essence from the digital side into portraying that in however vehicle you want to. From a T-shirt to a metal print, a wall art, you can blow that up and put it on Times Square. It's really how you you experience that digital in real life. So to me, that's why it's so important. It's like, it's like you said, the next extension of it. It's the natural progression of that. You have to, and I think it leads on to a little bit of the next question is, what are your predictions about where Phygitals is going and how it's going to play a part in the day-to-day lives with NFTs, in the mix now that we are seeing. So
I'm a super futurist. My team, we don't do this alone. We have a number of different people behind us. Our partner, German Carmona,
Our dev team,
our
artists.
dev team, our artists, all those people. And so the one thing that we're really excited about is what Diamonte touched on, is the fact that every single item, every single thing is going to come with an NFT. And I know I say that with certainty, but it's what's going to happen. With the ability for logistics, supply chain management, there are so many factors that NFTs can be built on, and within these structures that can ease selling, transactions, all those different things, authenticating. So, you know, when it comes to why he and I decided to really partake in this space was the fact that the items that our clients usually have usually come with the same parameters that are hard to work with. They're items that are, one, hard to authenticate. You usually have to send them back to the producer, which are usually these luxury brands, which are not in any type of rush to verify any of those items. Then it has to be sent back to you. Then you go about selling it. Then through the traditional means, a Christie's, a Sotheby's, those traditional auction houses, they don't give you the autonomy to transact the item in which you want to. So really bringing the power back to us as the consumers and the sellers, and also using NFTs as these digital certificates of authenticity. When we start purchasing cars, watches, timepieces, art, they're not going to be giving you certificates. They're going to be sending you these NFTs to your wallet that are now attached to this item, so that if you are now going to transact or sell it, hell, you could be walking down the street. Somebody says, hey, I like that watch, I like that car, I like that item. Here, I'll trade you the NFT as well as the physical item, which proves the ownership and authenticity of it. So that's where I see NFTs and using physical items to bridge that large gap that we find in the NFT space.
And another thing as well, and you know, one of our biggest goals, if I'm sure for everyone in this room as well, is to onboard as many people into Web3 as possible. And I think the huge value to and the competitive advantage to having a physical asset tied to the digital is creating and lowering the barrier of entry for some of the users to onboard into the space, providing the opportunity. And another value that we have through our Project Luxury Asset Club is we're looking to use the group economics that are provided by the community model of NFTs to liquidate usually liquid assets. So some of these assets, the time period to sell them can be 3 to 9 months. Through the NFT model, we may be able to cut that in half, if not easier.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Right now, when you want to sell clothing that is in your closet, the process is incredibly clunky. You have to lay it down, take a picture, write a description, and then upload it to Poshmark, eBay, StockX, The RealReal. But if you have an NFT associated with each individual garment in your closet, you can stand in front of your closet and sell 20 different pieces of clothing just with a click of the button. And I think that when we see that process streamlined for the consumer, there will be a lot more resale, which is fantastic because every time that an object is resold, it effectively avoids 86% of the carbon output associated with the new product manufacturing. Wow. And fashion is a huge contributor to the global carbon output. It's actually responsible for up to 10% of annual carbon emissions annually, which is more than international flights and shipping combined. Yeah, I think a lot of people don't really realize. But when you look at it, one thing that we all have in common at this conference is everybody's wearing mass-produced clothing. So we really need to think about what is going into the supply chain origin of growing cotton and dyeing it, pesticides, shipping. Let's go ahead and just take advantage of the clothing that we have available already and incentivize the ownership lineage to keep it moving.
That's a great point. The way I see it, in the beginning of the internet, not everybody had a web page. And then social media came along, not everybody had a Facebook page. But today, to think about, you're going to launch a company and you don't have a website, even if you're doing something in the trade, like whatever it is, if you don't have a website, it blows everybody's mind. Like, what do you mean you don't have a website? You don't have a Facebook page? That's the way people connect. And I think we're right here at this point where not everybody understands NFTs, and they don't understand the digital twinning, right? The twin of when you buy something. What do you mean I don't have an NFT attached to it? So we're in the process of like, what is the internet? What is an NFT? To in the future, as we progress and it becomes more and more understood, more and more adapted, it's going to become so expected that maybe in 20 years in NFT New York, we're going to be talking about it in such a natural way that expected and better technologies and better tools to, receive and trade and, from everything. But that aspect of it's going to be a concept that we're like, I can't believe that we never had this before. Like, what do you mean you don't have a Facebook page? It just becomes out there. And I think even more, and we'll talk into the next topic real quick, is the metaverse. Like, as people get to the metaverse, and it's an interesting concept because when Maddie started, it was a physical, right? So we taking the digital, the NFT, we make it into merch. And then they're like, well, but then there's the metaverse. We're like, hell, let's put it right back into the digital form. So now we create merch that's physical, and it's a two-way street. It's not a one-way street. We make the physical into the digital. So because of the metaverse, and I think as the metaverse becomes understood, becomes mainstream, people are having like meetings in there, it's going to be, oh, I bought this suit. I want to wear that suit into my meetings in the metaverse. So that was my question. The segue into the next question, how do you see the Phygitals, which is literally, digital to physical, but going right back with the metaverse, blending in, how do you guys see that happening? How are you contributing, and what do you envision?
I can answer that pretty well. So I had a fantastic conversation with a company called BNV.me that are creating the wearables in the metaverse. And the opportunities for marketing in the metaverse from a brand perspective are really significant because it's all about the advertising. But there's, from a consumer perspective, you can wear to earn. So if I have an amazing pair of metaverse Nike kicks and others are inspired by my wearing of those and go and purchase them themselves, I can earn a commission as a consumer. And brands can track who are the influencers in that space, who is creating the narrative around what is cool, what is aspirational. So I see a lot of opportunity from a brand perspective in the metaverse, but I'm not convinced about it from a consumer perspective yet. I think
We're too early.
We're still working on it.
Well, maybe I wanted to answer Alan's question. So how we try to incorporate the metaverse as far as our business model. And so what Diamonte and I try to do is, because the space is somewhat in its infancy, we really try to seek out partnerships with other entities that are parallel to what we want to do. So a lot of the things that we tokenize are pieces of art, timepieces, one-of-one items. So what we try to do is in those consulting meetings is try to really get these clients into the metaverse so they understand, so that there's a setting and a place for them to actually interact with these assets, and really interact with them within the metaverse, and that's with GDGC, but with our NFT project, the Luxury Asset Club, all of the items that we raffle off through this meta raffle model is essentially we create a digital twin, and those are for the entrants to be able to interact with. So Diamonte can explain a little bit more.
Yeah, we'll get into Luxury Asset Club, but long story short, I see the wearables and the digital assets having the same value, if not higher value, than they do in the physical world. I see, unfortunately, coming with our next pandemic or whatever happens next in our society, there'll be more of a move into the digital environment. I see schools, I see work environments, I see sales, auctions, whatever. All of the things we know to be real will exist in the physical world, and it'll be that same human psychology of wanting the best that you can get. So if you're able to get a one of three physical item, and you can get a one of three or one of one digital twin or digital replica of that, I see there being a very high value, especially as we move full time into the metaverse. So what about you, Alan?
If I had a penny for every time I heard play to earn in this conference, but you said where to earn. That's the first time I've heard that.
Yeah,
so that's a great
different.
concept. I love
flip
it.
on it.
You might have coined that out. So that's a great thing. But next question is just a little bit about how do you see, and we're reaching the end here, so be a little bit brief, but how do you see the brands coming in, and how do we interact? Because sometimes the decentralization is the idea of, the crypto idea is to be decentralized, but now we're seeing like Meta and these big corporations, but also now the brands coming in to kind of play where we thought we were safe from everybody out there. So how do we welcome them in? How are you guys envisioning partnerships and with the big brands?
Well,
Phygitals, obviously.
yeah, Diamonte just mentioned it. I think the best is to collaborate with them, and I think it would be a little bit immature to think that this space was just going to be reserved for us early adopters, and so, you know, there is that middle ground that I think we all have to play with as far as allowing it to be a decentralized marketplace and network for us to all be able to benefit and democratize, but in order for this to be mass adopted, you need larger brands to be able to play in this space. And it's really up to us in order to be the conduits for them to enter the space. And so making them responsible for the environments that
Especially
they
in an authentic way as
create.
well.
Yeah.
Not just entering the space, but entering the space in a way that they're well and wide received.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Whether that be philanthropically or just in a way that allows for every single person, every single member to participate.
I do think that there is an opportunity for consumers to have a level of ownership that they have not previously had, especially in the resale of their goods. Depending on who mints the NFT associated with a garment, it is possible for us to distribute royalties not only back to the brand, but also back through the supply chain all the way to the farmers who are picking the cotton.
Oh, wow.
So when we see the fashion industry leveraging the labor of overseas communities, I think that this is something that we're not going to escape corporate brands, but ultimately utilizing digital assets associated with physical objects will just give the opportunity for that level of ownership down to the molecular level.
No, that's a great point. And one of the things we wanted to do with Maddie's, and I know that's something that people are going to be doing out there more and more, is to be able to create a market where not only the creator gets rewarded with the royalties, mechanisms that we have when they mint and they sell, but also the derivatives of those mints. So if I minted an artwork, but that art becomes a T-shirt or becomes a painting, and that gets sold, like the creator, we can trace back to the creator and monetize that on the derivative side. With brands, I want to see more collaboration with starting artists, being able to see, especially because it's so new, see like Gucci and Versace and like bringing in not just their own designs, but maybe help out independent artists and bring about new talent in this new space. I think it's a new world. Metaverse is a whole new world. I think it's a great opportunity for them to collaborate and showcase through the power of their own community the new artists. So I'm hoping for that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that what's so interesting, because we can verify the ownership as an object or a physical asset trades hands, the provenance not only of the object itself, but who has owned that object, how they have used it, what is the life that this object has lived before it arrives to your hands, honestly brings the power of influence back into the hands of the people and outside of this brand story that this object is valuable because it has this brand name on it, but it has been used in this way by humanity. And I think that there's an opportunity to increase the value of physical objects and track that with the digital asset that's really compelling.
That's fantastic. That's one way to prove game-worn, jerseys from you actually wore it, right?
Yeah.
So guys, that's it. That's our time. Thank you so much for giving us the time. So
Thank you guys.
Thank
Appreciate
you.
it. Thank you.